Hello, it's Alex. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a little while. Yeah, I haven't been feeling too jolly, so that's why I wasn't here kind of last week posting anything. I think we all have times when we're not feeling so great, we feel a bit down, especially right now for obvious reasons. But I did carry on sewing and I made a few things to kind of cheer myself up. So I thought I would share those with you because I'm starting to feel a bit better and a bit happier. So yeah, thought I'd show you what I've been up to. I don't know if anyone else suffers from this phenomenon, but I have noticed that if I'm not in the right frame of mind, for whatever reason, whatever I'm sewing doesn't go to plan. And that is what happened, really. That's kind of what led me to the point where I thought, I don't think you're in a very good space at the moment, Alex. I started off making a cardigan to go with my shirt dress, the Armadale shirt dress that I made a little while ago. From Style Arc. When I showed you all that, I had an orange cardigan that was a ready-to-wear cardigan, and I said at the time, I think really I need something a bit cropped because it has a slightly higher waistline. And somebody, and I have gone back to the comments to look to see who, and I can't find it, but somebody suggested a free cardigan pattern from Sinclair Patterns. It's called the Harper cardigan. So I thought that looked great. Went and had a look at it. It's a really nice simple cardigan and it's free, which is great because it's a really good way of trying out a pattern company that I've not used before. I didn't know about them at all. Yeah, it's a really good cardigan. It comes, there's I think 4 different lengths, so it's from cropped right down to sort of long duster length. I think they have different height ranges and cup sizes, so really good. I did find the instructions to be really good. Actually, I think it's quite geared up for beginners or people that like a lot of information and a lot of guidance when they're sewing. So yeah, really interesting to look at. The only niggle I had with it was I did find that on the pattern pieces, the marked grain line was a bit short, and I am one of those people, I like to measure. When I lay my pattern pieces on my fabric, I really very carefully measure the distance from selve edge to grain line to make sure it's absolutely on grain. So if you've got, if you were making the duster length of that cardigan, you'd want that all the way down the pattern piece. And that was my only niggle, was that the grain lines were a bit short, but I just drew it on, so not the end of the world. So I started making a cardigan and I made it out of that really nice orange knit wool from Lulou Designs in this rusty orange colour. And I measured the dress to see where the waist was and cropped it up a bit to go in line with it. And it's all going reasonably well. I put the lower band on and I put it on to see how it fitted before I added the front band that kind of goes around the neckline, only to find it was a complete disaster. Let me see if you can see why. Yeah, first things first, it's way too short. I mean, even though I wanted it cropped, I didn't want it this cropped. This is slightly bonkers. I think it needs to be sort of more like here. So that was my first problem, and then when I turned round, clearly there's a bit of an issue with the overlocker tension. Right, where is it? It's all sticking out, and this has been pressed. So I thought there's really not a lot I can do about this other than take that band off the bottom, redraft another pattern piece, add some length onto it, sort the overlocker out. I used this pastel rainbow overlocker thread on this one because I didn't have any overlocking thread that matched the cardigan. And as you can see, I mean, it looks great, and I do find it to be really good for this kind of thing, you know, when you haven't got something that matches, because it still looks kind of purposeful. I don't like it when I've got a different colour on my overlocking thread to my fabric. I just find when I kind of pick up the garment just in day-to-day wearing, it always feels a bit amateurish to me, whereas when that rainbow one's on, it kind of looks purposeful. But yeah, look, I mean, the tension is all ribbly and all over the show. So basically, it was a disaster. Wrong length, all didn't, yeah. And not to mention the fact that I really like this fabric and I was annoyed that I'd kind of ruined it. I do think it's salvageable, but I just wasn't in the right headspace to salvage it. So I just put it to one side and make something that you've made before that's nice and simple. So if you saw that last video, which was the fabric haul video, and thanks for all the really nice comments, by the way, I have got a bit of a problem because my washing machine is one that's been recalled, which means I can't use it right now. So I've got all this fabric I'm dying to use and I don't dare do so until I've pre-washed it. So it's really annoying because I'm hoping to get a replacement soon. But I had pre-washed this Galaxy fabric already. And if you remember, my plan was to make myself some pyjamas out of it. So 2 patterns are made before: the Dirndl Plantain, that's the free round neck top, knit top, and Helen's Closet Avery leggings. The top worked a treat, no problems with that at all, and I'd show it to you, except it's in the washing pile, which as you can imagine is huge. So I haven't got that shape, but you know, it's a round neck top. All fine. Then I came to make these, which is the leggings. Pattern was already cut in the right size because I've made it before. Nice and easy instructions. They're really nice leggings, these ones, if you want. I mean, not everyone wants to sleep in leggings, obviously, but if you want them as leggings, they're great because they have a nice wide band at the top so they don't roll down, which is really good. I really like it. It's just 1 piece per leg, so you've just got an inseam. And yeah, made it before, already cut out, jobs are good, and went to put them on, and I could barely fit them up my legs because, like an idiot, I hadn't bothered to test the amount of stretch in the fabric, and that pattern requires something like 70% stretch, and this fabric is more like 40. So I can just about get them on, but I mean, I'm having to stretch it like mad so it goes borderline, well, certainly translucent, which, you know, it's not great. So yeah, 2 disasters in a row. I mean, the Plantain wasn't a disaster, that one's fine, but these 2 are complete disasters. So to be honest, that point in time, I wasn't feeling great. Feeling a bit, you know, sorry for myself and a bit miserable, and I'd had 2 sewing fails, so I decided to have a bit of time away from sewing and to forget it. So rather than being a normal person and having a bit of time off and maybe reading some books and taking it easy and going for some walks and, you know, a bit of self-care, I decided to paint the hallway. I was supposed to have done it last year in time for Christmas and it never happened, so it was a good job to do, but possibly not the right thing to do because I then completely exhausted myself. By the time I'd finished painting the hallway, I was feeling low and tired and generally a bit, yeah, pretty fed up really. But I did want to go back to sewing, and I thought I really want to make myself something easy that's not going to go wrong. And nice and comforting, and yeah, I was in the mood for some comfort sewing really. And I remembered a lady that I had seen in the street a couple of weeks before. I'd seen her while I was out shopping, and she looked really cool. She was wearing an outfit. She had on like a black skirt, and over the top of it she had a fleece dress. And it was made of sherpa fleece, and she was wearing, well, I'd actually say she was wearing exactly the same boots I'm wearing now, which are these big old, these are my don't mess with me boots, big old chunky lace-up boots, and she looked really cool. And as we kind of passed across each other, I said to her, really like your dress, and she stopped and chatted, and she said something along the lines of, oh, I wasn't sure whether I should wear it out of the house or not. Subsequently, I've realised what she was wearing was something that is called an Oodie. Now, I'd only heard about these in the last couple of days, so I have made my dress before I knew about Oodies, You may or may not know about them, but they're basically like something like an oversized hoodie. It's fleece on the outside, sherpa fleece on the inside. They're really expensive, but they're very popular, I think, with kids. People are wearing them a lot because obviously we're all at home, and they're nice and comforting and basically like wearing a big old blanket. Well, I'd been inspired by this lady, and so when I finished doing my decorating, I set about trying to find some fleece fabric, and I thought I'm going to make myself a fleece dress, and I couldn't find any. What I wanted was sherpa fleece, not, you know, the kind of flat smooth fleece, but anything I found was more like lining. I really wanted something that was going to be soft on the inside as much as on the outside. And then I had a little brainwave, which is that when I was getting my daughters ready to go back to university, we'd been to Matalan, and in Matalan they sold fleece bedding. And if you're not in the UK, Matalan is a shop that sells sort of clothes and a bit of homeware. It's kind of pretty inexpensive. It's kind of like supermarket level. Anyway, they had these bedding sets in there, a few different colours, and I've got a branch of Matalan literally 5 minutes from my house. So I nipped over there and bought a single duvet bedding set. So it's 135 centimetres wide, 2 lengths, because obviously 2 sides to the duvet cover, and a pillowcase. And I thought, right, I think I've got plenty of fabric there to make myself a dress. And my thought was, I want to make something that I'm not going to mess up, that I've made before. I don't have to worry about fitting or how to make it, something nice and easy and something comforting. So I decided to make the assembly line hoodie dress, which I've made before in a brushed cotton drill, and is probably my ultimate comfort dress. And I thought, to have my ultimate comfort dress in such a soft fabric has got to be a winner, and I'm really pleased with it. The version I made before, I didn't make it with a hood, but this time it had to have a hood, didn't it? And I self-lined the hood. So yeah, it looks like this on the inside. So it's not beautiful, but it's certainly soft. And it's lovely and soft on the outside. I mean, it's 100% polyester. I can't see, I certainly don't think I'd want to have it as bedding. I'd be way too hot. But anyway, my son, when he saw the bedding, immediately thought it was for him and loved it. So yeah, horses for courses. But I thought that this would be a really good pattern. It's nice and long. It's also got these huge great pockets at the front here. It feels nice and cocooning because of the elastic detail on the hem and on the hem of the sleeves, and obviously with the hood on it as well. I mean, basically it's as good as walking around in a blanket, you know, without walking around in a blanket. Whether I would wear it out of the house, I don't know. Tell me what you think, because obviously I'll put some pictures in. At this point in time, I kind of feel like if the postie knocked on the door, I wouldn't be ashamed to be seen in it. Would I wear it to nip down to the shops? Not sure. I can't be sure whether I'd look like I'm just somebody that's run away from an asylum or not. Yeah, tell me what you think. But regardless of that, I was really pleased because A, it came together really, really nicely. This is a size medium. This fabric does have stretch in it. It's got one-way stretch, and the pattern is not designed to for a stretch fabric. But you know, it wasn't a problem. I sewed it quite quickly. I sewed it pretty much all on my overlocker. There is top stitching, so I overlocked the seams, pressed them, and then top stitched. But because I was overlocking it, it was nice and easy and nice and quick. Yeah, apart from the darts, I think it was all done on the overlocker. And to be honest, there was plenty of fabric in that single bedding set, which cost £15, so that's not bad. To the extent that I think I actually, because if you wanted one of those Oodies, I think they are lined. I don't think that's a double-sided fabric. I think they're lined. So I think there's actually enough that I certainly could have lined the, perhaps not the sleeves, but I think certainly the body part of this, because there was lots left, and I actually used the extra to make my son, who was sad that I wasn't giving him the bedding, a top. So I made Jack a top. I haven't hemmed the sleeves or the hem. The sleeves are that much too short, but you know, what does he expect? He's not going to wear it out of the house. But yeah, I just used a Sayward, it was a Sayward Raglan tee anyway, whoever that's from. I'll put it linked below. But again, just on the overlocker, I mean, if it took me an hour, I'd be surprised. And he is chuffed to bits and has now forgiven me for not letting him have the bedding. But yeah, so things were starting to look up, because it was starting to get a bit more successful, and more importantly, I've now got the most comfortable dress in the world. Don't think I'd sleep in it, it would be way too hot to sleep in, but certainly, you know, cold mornings, get up, have a cup of tea, throw that on over, yeah, it's really good. And then just before I go, I did also make, in my autumn plans video, I said I want to make a few more jersey tops, and I made myself another Somerset tee, which is a Maven patterns, and I used that same overlocking thread. So it's quite useful, you know, if you're batch sewing a load of you know, something like jersey tees, and they're all going to be in different colours. That's why this overlocking thread is great. And I noticed that a couple of fabric companies, I know William G in London posted that they've now got this variegated overlocking thread in a lot of different colours. I bought this from a place called Little T's Haberdashery, and I think she had 2 or 3. I've got the grey variegated one. This is pastel rainbow, and then I think there's a sort of more vibrant rainbow. But yeah, William G seemed to have it in all sorts of different colours. So yeah, it's great for this kind of thing. But yeah, so this one is a success. Let me put it on for you and show you. So yeah, this is the one that's got the bishop sleeve that you deal with the gathering here by shearing. So I made one before. I'll do a link to my review when I made it before. The only thing that I did differently this time is that when I made that last one, I had a slight on the back neck, it slightly poked up, and she had just done a hack on her website for how to get rid of that, and I followed those instructions, and I do feel that that is sitting really nicely now. So problem solved. I can't remember what size this is, probably a 14 I should imagine, and this is just a cotton jersey, so it's not as drapey as a viscose jersey. I think I might make it out of something drapier next time just to see how it turns out, but I'm really happy with this. This fabric was from B&M in Leeds, it was in my stash, and certainly the sort of thing I'm going to wear plenty over the winter. So luckily I got 2 things that did go to plan. Oh, and the plantain went to plan as well. So I think the lesson I learned was that when I'm not feeling great, when life's getting on top of me, and you know, this pandemic's, it's getting to us all at some time or another, isn't it? You know, sewing was a great distraction. It was a great way of taking my mind off other things and keeping me kind of focused on something else, and not kind of getting too bogged down or too anxious. But at the same time, I certainly didn't have the mental capacity to do anything that wasn't very familiar to me or needed an awful lot of thought. I mean, even with those Helen's Closet leggings that I've made before, the fact that I just forgot to check the stretch, or I didn't check the tension on my overlocker, and I clearly cropped that cardigan way too short, all daft and silly mistakes. So I think next time I need to remember to keep it simple, not to use fabric that I'm going to be really annoyed about if I mess up, and just make something that I've made before and is kind of tried and tested. And in the meantime, I've now got my uber snuggly dress to wear whenever I feel a bit miserable. And yeah, luckily I'm starting to feel a bit better, so that's good. Let me know whether you think potentially I could leave the house in that dress or not. If you haven't subscribed and you fancy doing so, that would be great. And I will be back. I'm pretty much always over on Instagram if you want to find me there. But yeah, speak to you soon. Bye.